Crypto Caesar Capital. Hope you're well. It's the 14th of April. We are 2024, and we are now, I think, 5 days away from the Bitcoin halving. I thought I'd do this video because there's a lot of fear, it seems, in the market at the moment, which I don't quite understand. A lot of people being extremely bearish on X and other various social media platforms, YouTube, etc. And I think it's important that we just have a look at actually the facts and look at things holistically in the round and where we are really in this cycle. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at Bitcoin. We're going to look at the higher time frames, go down to the weekly time frame, and then we are going to look at potential pullbacks, and we're going to look at the market in whole, and we're going to look at some on-chain metrics, etc. as well. So get a cup of tea, and let's take a look at the charts. So this is Bitcoin on the monthly, okay? And sometimes when we have these pullbacks, it's important to look at Bitcoin on the higher time frame. So this is Bitcoin on the monthly, and as you can see, this is a mere blip in a very strong uptrend. Okay, there are multiple things to be bullish about in 2024 going into 2025. I mean, we've got the Bitcoin halving, which is 4 or 5 days away. We've got ETF buyers who seem to be, very interested in this asset class. And of course, we've got Hong Kong, which will have an ETF probably this week coming. We've got a presidential election. The macro doesn't look too bad. And to be honest, the suggestion that the situation in the Middle East is going to affect the markets long to midterm is nonsense, because if you actually look at the charts and look at conflicts, there is a little bit of a reaction to begin with, but after a while the market just normalizes. And Bitcoin had a bit of a pullback yesterday. Obviously altcoins are being challenged, but this is all quite normal in the cycle, and we'll look at Bitcoin dominance in a moment as to why that is. But here we are on the monthly time frame. We are sitting above. It might be easier to look at it on a line chart. We're sitting above the previous all-time high on a line chart, okay? And we are consolidating, in my view, around the all-time highs, which is really quite bullish, okay? We are literally sitting above this candle closure here of 62,000, and looking pretty good, to be quite frank. So not a huge amount for me to be worried about at the moment. I mean, if you actually look at this holistically, look at these big green candles. I mean, we've had 7 months of green. One has to expect that there's going to be possibly a month or two of red. But when you look at it in the round, I mean, it's a tiny little blip in all of these big fat green candles, so quite healthy in my view. Looking at things on the weekly, again, it seems to be that there's this kind of area of consolidation. So we've got the first high made in sort of April 2021. And then we've got this other high, and we'll take them from the candle closures rather than the wicks. And what we seem to be doing is that this seems to be an area here, which in between those two highs, which we seem to be consolidating in. Okay, very, very healthy. There is a possibility we might go lower. And to be quite frank, that would be quite normal in Bitcoin terms. I mean, just go back and look at previous cycles and look at the pullbacks that we have along the way. I mean, it doesn't really take a rocket scientist to work out the depths of the pullbacks we had. We had a pullback here at the beginning of the run, which was 22%. We had a pullback here of 17%. We had a pullback here of a little bit more, 33%. Another pullback here of 25%. Go back to 2017, probably a little bit more volatile. We had a pullback here of 40%, a pullback here of 34%, one here of 39%, okay, one here of 30%. So you get my point, right? That it's quite normal for Bitcoin to have these pullbacks and these sort of areas or moments of consolidation. But realistically speaking, since the Bitcoin ETF has been launched, we've had one pullback of 21% or so, 20.8%, and we've now had this pullback of 17.8 or about 18%. So, you know, in the grand scheme of things, this is all quite normal. And nothing really to be freaking out about. Those who are completely in altcoins are probably feeling the pain, but that's because they're completely in altcoins and they haven't looked at their portfolio properly. They haven't got a balanced portfolio with some Bitcoin in it. Anyone who has a solid portfolio will have Bitcoin in it. Of at least 50% in my view, and anyone who's got a portfolio with 50% Bitcoin in it is not at all feeling any form of pain at the moment. So where could we go from here? Okay, well, obviously we could just consolidate in this area for a while before we have another move up to the upside, which is quite possible. Or we could have some further downside before we see some upside, so we could consolidate into the summer months and then move up. Now, the levels below for me, I mean, if we lose this level of 60K, then I think, to be quite frank, it's going to be, you know, around about the 52 to 54K mark. So coming in to this kind of area here. And the reason why I like this area is, firstly, we've got quite a lot of horizontal support there, but also we have the bull market support band, which is sitting pretty much around that area, so around about the sort of 53, 54K mark. And we've also got the super guppy, which is the top of the green, as it were, is sitting right on that 52K, 53K mark at the moment. So we've got confluence with the bull market support band on that horizontal support area, and we've got confluence with the super guppy as well. And if you actually look at the super guppy closely, you'll see that Bitcoin generally likes to stay within the blue, testing the green as it makes its, or as it trends, as it were, to the upside. Here you can see down to the green, up into the blue, comes close to the green, etc. But once it's in that sort of hard trend, as it were, to the upside, it generally likes to remain in the blue and use the green moving averages as support. Let's have a look at 2017 to get more of a better view of that. Yeah, so you can see here in 2017, when it was making its uptrend, it liked to trend up and then test the green area. All these green areas are moving averages, and up, come back down to the green, up into the blue, into the green, etc. And that sort of forms its, you know, upward trend. The super guppy is actually quite a nice little indicator to use for trends. So it's worth having a look at that on TradingView. It's free, it doesn't cost anything. So for me, again, you know, this is absolutely nothing out of the ordinary. We've had a nice parabolic move to the upside. We're within the blue. We've come down here, tested the green or got close to it, up way above into the blue, and now there is this potential of us coming back and testing the top green moving averages, which would be around about, you know, depending on when we get there, it could be 53, 54K. But, you know, I mean, that's as probably low, I think, as we go. if this is a trending bull market, which I'm fairly sure it is, I don't think we're going to go any lower than that sort of 52 to 54K mark. And to be honest, that's pushing it. I just I just think that this area will hold really well as support, 52 to 54K. We've got the horizontal support, we've got the super guppy, and we've got the bull market support band, all giving us confluence. This area will be an area that would be heavily defended. But to be quite frank, as I've just said, it wouldn't surprise me if we went down there, but it may be that we don't go down there and we just hold this area strongly at 60K as support, and we just consolidate for a little while longer before moving into the halving. Now, we'll look in a moment at the coin issuance, but of course, as you know, come I think it's the 18th or 19th of April, only 450 Bitcoins will be able to be mined a day. At the moment, it's 900 Bitcoins. So there is going to be a supply shock. And as you all probably know, most of the ETFs are buying their Bitcoin OTC probably from miners at the moment. And there is going to be quite a supply shock as we move into the summer months, which should sort of push Bitcoin or the price of Bitcoin to the upside. Okay, so that's where I see Bitcoin going if we're going to have a big drop. Okay, so for me, there are two scenarios. Either we continue to consolidate here for a while longer, and then we start making our move to the upside. It's possible that we could consolidate here for a few months whilst these moving averages continue to move to the upside, and we come down and we test those. Of course, the moving averages continue to posture to the upside. So if it takes us a few more months, it may well be that we test the top of the super guppy or the green area of the super guppy and the bull market support band when they are trending a little bit higher. So coming up into this area of about 58 to 60K, that's quite possible as well. So either we consolidate in this area, then we make our move to the upside, or we have a nice, decent move to the downside, testing this horizontal support around 53, 54K, testing the bull market support band and the top green area of the super guppy, and then start moving, making our move to the upside. So really nothing to be concerned about, all quite normal in my view at this time of the cycle. If anything, anyone who's been in Bitcoin since sort of early 2023, I've been blessed with nothing but upside and not a huge amount of volatility. I mean, I've been in Bitcoin since 2016, and I can assure you the volatility has been significantly more than what anyone who has experienced, who bought in here in December 2022 and has literally just had this opportunity of pretty much upside with not a huge amount of volatility along the way. So I think if we do have this move to the downside to the sort of 52, 54K, 58K mark, then that's really going to worry a lot of people. And for those sitting in spot Bitcoin, or for those who have a significant position in Bitcoin with some altcoins, this isn't going to phase them at all, really, because they're not really going to feel the pain half as much as someone who is just completely in altcoins, which is always a bad idea. And unfortunately, it takes that will take that particular person a cycle or two to learn that having a balanced portfolio with a good, strong hedge of Bitcoin in it is always the way to go, because it allows you to sleep well at night. So let's just have a look at a couple of indicators, which for me are quite interesting at the moment. So the first one is the Pi cycle indicator. It's another indicator that you can get for free on TradingView or multiple other sites. So Pi cycle, this is the one I usually use. No credits left. Oops. Okay. Right. Okay. Put that one in. Here we are. Bitcoin is testing the top moving average, which I think is a 350 DMA times 2. Double check that. Yeah, it's 350 times 2. And we've rejected off this blue moving average, which is a 350 times 2 DMA. And that's completely normal for Bitcoin to do. It likes to get up to the 350 and test it and consolidate around this area. Did it last cycle? Here we are. Look, consolidating below it before it broke above. Did it the cycle before as well, consolidating below it before it broke above. But what's quite clear about the 350 DMA times 2 is that once we get above this and we start clearing it, then that will signal the sort of mania phase in the market. Okay, so you've got to keep an eye on that. And of course, that mania phase doesn't really last a huge amount of time. For example, here, when we cleared it, and we got the pi cycle high in sort of the April, May time of 2021. It was above it for 126 days. And in 2017, it was, once it cleared it properly, it was above it for 140 days. So the mania phase in the bull market doesn't really last very long before you get a pi cycle high. So just be aware of that. But my point at the moment is we're just consolidating under it, which is quite normal for this time or this part of the cycle. Consolidating under 350 DMA is absolutely quite normal. So let's have a look at some on-chain stuff quickly. So this is the MVRV Z-score, which is quite a useful indicator. It's an on-chain indicator, and it evaluates basically whether Bitcoin is overvalued or undervalued relative to its fair value. And you can see here that Bitcoin, if you look at this chart, it's very good at telling you when to buy and when to sell, basically. So when we're up in this high, sort of the red area, the very volatile area, to the upside, that is a good signal to start being defensive or start taking profit, or at least setting stop losses. And again, when we're down in the green area here, it's telling you this is an opportunity for you to buy. I did a video on this back in I think it was November 2022. Because it was giving us a clear indication down here that that Bitcoin was in the oversold area, and that it was an opportunity to buy. But anyway, so in the green you buy, in the red you sell, essentially. And you can see here we are nowhere near close to being in the red. It's questionable whether we get to the red again this cycle, but we're nowhere close to the red. And if you actually look where we were in the last cycle, as to where we are now, the price of Bitcoin was around about the 18K mark in the previous cycle. So essentially we were tapping on the previous cycle highs, all-time high. So again, consolidating in this area, where we are now was where we were previously. And, when we were tapping on 20K back in December of 2020. So completely normal. We're in this normal area of the cycle, because if you look at the price of Bitcoin, where the price was when we were consolidating here back in 2020, where was Bitcoin? It was tapping on the previous all-time high area. Where are we now? We're consolidating here. Where are we on the price of Bitcoin? Up here, we're tapping on the door of previous all-time highs. So completely normal area to be in the cycle. And the big point, I suppose, is this: we've got a lot of volatility to the upside to go yet, according to this metric. So pretty bullish, really. Let's have a look at the total crypto market cap. So this is everything, including Bitcoin, all altcoins. We seem to be consolidating nicely here. Obviously, we've had a decent run to the upside as of late, but we seem to be consolidating under this high of March 2022, which is obviously a significant price point, because this was the last push that Bitcoin had before it rejected going in, confirming its bear market in April of 2022. So this is a significant price point here. or area. And as you can see, the market, the total market has come down and tested this area. So it was a significant area back in March, April, May 2022. Before the entire market just moved to the downside, confirming the bear market, and that we're just kind of testing that area now. So consolidating around this area would be quite normal, to be quite frank. So that looks quite normal to me. Absolutely no reason to be bearish on everything. I think, to be quite frank, everything looks about normal as to where we should be. Let's have a look at Bitcoin dominance quickly. Now, Bitcoin dominance, I've done lots of videos on this, so I'm not going to go into a huge amount of detail. But back in sort of November 2022, even prior to that, I was calling 58% Bitcoin dominance. Everyone was calling me crazy. Everyone along this journey to the upside has been calling me crazy, calling a 58 to 60% Bitcoin dominance. It doesn't look like I'm that much of a crazy guy anymore, right? I mean, we almost tipped it yesterday at 57%. So Bitcoin dominance is doing what it usually does, and that's gathering dominance over the market. And it's my view that Bitcoin dominance will be about 58 to 60% ish at the point of which it then rolls over, and then altcoins really start to fly. But as I said at the beginning, when we looked at Bitcoin dominance a moment ago, essentially this is all quite normal. We are where we are, and I would say we're kind of, if anything, we're a little bit ahead of the schedule. So that's it. So that's the video for today. Absolutely nothing to be concerned about. Worst case scenario for me is about 52 to 54K. Best case scenario really is that we continue to consolidate around this sort of 72 to 60K mark, and then we continue the grind to the upside into the summer. And as I said, worst case scenario is 52, 54K, which would take a little bit longer of consolidation around that area before we continue to move toward the previous all-time high again later on in the year. So that's it. If you want to join the group, then please, there's a link in the description to our website. Take a look at the website. You can either email me through the website, or you can DM me directly on X, and we can get you into the group for a 12-month subscription of $499, which is an absolute bargain given what you actually receive within the group. Okay, take care. Thank you very much for listening, and I shall speak to you all soon. Bye-bye.